I like to support the people around me. Why is that the biggest laugh in a while? I do.
Oh my God.
I like to lift and elevate those around me.
Out my water.
Like to punch down and bury.
My only joy, my only real joy is watching those around me thrive. By the way, I'm hostage right now. I'm being held at gunpoint and being forced to read this. No, I do. I'm happy. But then there are limits. There are limits. And Matt Gourley, a very talented fellow, works on this podcast. You add so much to the chitter chatter, but then behind the scenes, you're constantly making all these great edits and audio choices, and you're putting it all together and getting it out to the people of the world. So I do commend you for that. But then you have these other projects. And I'm trying to think of the way to put this. It enrages me that you would ever divert your eye from this. I mean, this is a golden egg. This is lightning in a bottle, what we have here. And yet every time I turn around, you say, well, I got to get going now. I'm going to go work on Gloop Dilly Gloop. And I'm like, what's that? And you're like, oh, it's in one of my 700 other podcasts that I do. You have one called Mall Walking. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a culturally significant and important podcast where my friend Mark and I just record ourselves walking through America's malls.
Mm-hmm. And you've been manhandled during those recordings, haven't you?
Yes, Sona joined us once and we got kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You make it sound like we got kicked out because of me.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, you were.
What did you shoplift? Just curious.
Yeah, how dare you?
What did you?
Well, one time when
How dare you? Have you shoplifted in the past?
No, we did reparations.
We went to the store that I did shoplift from, and then I apologized.
Oh, good. All right. That's
and we bought something from the store to atone.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay.
Well, Matt did.
Yeah. So you have these you have a lot of other projects as well.
It's true, and I look at those as moonlighting. This is my day job. This is, I take this seriously.
You do.
Yes.
I just worry that
even though they existed before this podcast, but still.
I know, but come on.
Okay. Yeah.
This you're a guy that's been mucking around, making little sculptures, and then you got a chance to work on, this is the Parthenon. It sits upon, this is a massive structure that sits on a high mesa in a hill in Athens, and people look at it and marvel at its beauty.
Corporate entity that's rotting America from within, I think is more an apt analogy. Possibly.
Yeah, you say tomato, I say tomato.
Okay.
But the important thing is that you do have these other podcasts, and even I have to admit, someone with a Grinch shriveled heart like me, I have to admit that you do have these other ideas that sound cool, and you have these other projects that sound like they're kind of interesting, and you've got this new one that I heard about. Adam mentioned it to me in the hall today, and I said, wait a minute, that sounds like a really good idea. I'd listen to that, and I wanted to bring it up on the air.
That's very nice of you. I will say that my podcasts are stupid. This one is legit.
Oh, this is erudite.
It is. I'll tell you why. Because my wife and I are doing it together, and she adds a level of respectability that I cannot bring.
Well, okay, let's talk about this, because the project that you're working on is called Keys to the Kingdom. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting, this is about the experience of working at a theme park. And first of all, that's how you met your wife, is that right?
That's right. We're both recovering theme park employees. She was a former princess. She played a bunch of princesses. I was just kind of a actor, performer, improv person there. Mm-hmm. And we met at Universal Studios, that we both worked at Disney together. And through the years, we were beset, some of ourselves, through crazy stories of shit that goes on there that you wouldn't believe. And this whole podcast is like a 8-episode docuseries of people telling stories about when they worked there, so essentially. You
guys are the hosts, and then you're talking to a bunch of people who are coming forward and just telling you the funny, crazy things that happened to them while they were working in theme parks.
Yeah, and some people we don't know, and some people actually that are going under assumed names and having their voices changed because they're either worried about job security or past job security. They might not even work there, and they still don't want to upset certain theme parks. So there's a lot of it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek Watergate expose. Oh. But You know what I mean?
It's not.
I thought the original Watergate expose was kind of tongue in cheek.
We're treating it like we're busting the lid off something when
Right.
in fact we're just having a good time with some stories that are really ridiculous, some stories that are kind of spooky. And then Sona was a guest as well, and she tells her story of getting busted by the Disney police for trying to smuggle in edibles to the park.
Yeah, I did. I've told that story on this podcast.
Yeah, and also you don't even need to tell me what it was because you could guess what Sona got in trouble for. It usually revolves around a certain theme. But Keys to the Kingdom, and how do people listen to Keys to the Kingdom?
It's anywhere you can find podcasts, and it'll be out October 16th, but you could subscribe now. There's also 8 behind-the-scenes bonus episodes with extra material that you can get in the show notes of the podcast.
Well, it sounds, like I said, I would listen to this because as someone who has been to, every time I go to a theme park, my mind is racing, wondering what's really going on
It's
here.
crazy.
And there's no way to find out because you can't just ask people. But it sounds like you've blown the lid off this story.
It's a crazy, creepy cult that we were a part of for a long time, and I'm happy to be out of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But also, all respect to these major companies.
Oh, God.
And I look forward to doing business with you in the future because I didn't just say that. Well, anyway, look out for it. Keys to the Kingdom. And I'm excited for you.
Thank you. This was very nice of you to do too.
Well, this will never air.
Okay. I'll just make sure.
Yeah,
It's
see
not
that
even
this-
being recorded.
Yeah, no. Make sure this never, ever airs.
That's okay.
I just want points for doing it and then just make sure it never really happens.
Okay.
Cool. That's the Conan formula.